I'm joined now by Maestro Robert Nance and Natalie Young from Heartland Sings. Thank you guys for being here. Bob, we were just talking, we go way back.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised when I was doing my research for this interview about how Heartland has grown and evolved over the years. I can't wait to dive into all that. But tell me, in a nutshell, what Heartland Sings is.
Well, Heartland is what I would call a vocal production company. It got started with the idea of providing career opportunities for professional vocalists, right? And I call them vocal artists because I think people have used the word singer maybe a little too much and rather in a pejorative way, like, oh, they're just a singer versus an instrumentalist. And really that was the crux of why Heartland was started in the first place, kind of a justice issue. I'm primarily a keyboardist, but I work with singers all the time, vocal artists. And what was interesting was that there was never really an equal opportunity for vocalists versus instrumentalists, and plus people didn't see the benefit in paying a singer for their professional services versus an instrumentalist, as if that extension of that body, playing a cello or a violin, was so much more important than a singer.
Right.
So we started Heartland Sings, back then it was Heartland Chamber Chorale, as a professional vocal ensemble, much like the Philharmonic or any professional group. And early on, we realized that we needed to focus on earned income because we're a performing arts organization. We can concentrate on selling products, you know, in a very entrepreneurial way, and also do cultural programming as well. So over 25 years, fast forward, we have found a variety of ways to do small ensembles. We were able to hire full-time artists to do it, and if they're on tap every day, we can create some pretty dynamic programming across the board. So we're doing everything from country to musical theater to, you know, really focused opera. We just finished doing an opera this year. Gosh, you know, the opera we did about Matthew Shepard on the 20th anniversary of his murder. And, you know, so we've been able to do the full gamut of what any professional artistic company should be about, which is, you know, cultural impact, but also out there earning a living as entertainers. And that's what we do.
Natalie, how did you get involved? I imagine that it has to be so thrilling to know that there is an outlet, that you can make a living doing what you love, are good at, and you know, you're an artist.
Right.
So you came into it, and how do you fit in?
Yeah, I actually moved here for this job because there aren't a lot of companies like Heartland Sings. I would say there aren't any companies quite like Heartland Sings in the United States. So most artists, whenever you finish up with school, it's kind of just a hodgepodge of whatever you can find. You're gigging around and you're teaching and just trying to make ends meet. This job is amazing because it brings together everything that I was doing in my gigging and freelancing into one position. And it's a salaried position. So I have a full-time job in the arts as a singer or a vocal artist.
I know. It's hard to even let go of that, right?
Sure.
Which is amazing. So yeah, so I moved here in 2019 for this job, and I've been here ever since as one of the principal vocal artists at Heartland Sings.
Heartland Sings is so much more than vocalists. You also have a huge educational component. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we have a lot of programming under our education umbrella. So one of the programs that we're really excited about is called LALA, which is
Language acquisition
and literacy through the arts. La
la la.
like you're singing la la.
I love it. Okay.
Yeah. So what we do is we go into first grade classrooms in elementary schools, and we come alongside the teachers, and we teach core curriculum of language arts, but through the medium of opera and music. So we are really helping students that might not understand the curriculum in the traditional way. We give them another way to learn things like story elements. We teach characters and setting and problem and solution. And then we also, one of the units that we're really excited about in this program is that we have a unit of emotions lessons where we take the emotions happy, sad, mad, and scared, And we give the students synonyms for those emotions. So they get 5 synonyms for each emotion, and they learn how to use those words. So they can talk more effectively about how they're feeling. And it's really rewarding as a teacher when you see them start to use those words on their own, and we'll say, you can't say, if you're feeling happy someday, you can't say you're feeling happy, but you're feeling joyful, or are you feeling jubilant, and we give them body language to go along with it, and there's songs, of course. So that's one of the programs that we're really excited about.
And do you guys develop these programs in-house?
Yes.
We do. It's part of a focus of arts integration.
Yeah.
Those were brought to us by several of our previous staff people, not the least of which was Stephanie Carlson, who brought this idea of pulling arts integration together in our music. But it was so real to me, because as a student, when I was in elementary school, we had arts integration. So we've somehow moved away from it, and now we're bringing it back through this program. So it really is an entrepreneurial way of increasing people's awareness of the arts and its value in helping us just live together.
Yes, because you're so right, it's a language that some kids need to be able to articulate their feelings.
I know just from talking with the teachers, a lot of them use the curriculum or the songs that we're teaching when we're not even there. So we come back in a week later and they've been singing the setting song on their own, and the kids are getting it so much better just because there's a song attached to it. So yeah, it's exciting.
That's one of our highlights in education. We do a lot of different programming this is like a semester-long program, but we have others that are one-offs, and just a whole variety, plus our studios where you can get professional level teaching. So that's a nice aspect. But also on the entrepreneurial front, we have our mobile unit, which we've now in our second year. It's called the Art V. So it actually is a retrofitted RV that has our equipment on it, and we can be in a neighborhood at the drop of a hat performing any number of songs. This year, our artistic team put together 3 programs, a country program, a musical theater program, and an American pop program.
So you're making music so accessible. Was that always the goal? I mean, you mentioned that initially it was to allow artists to work. But did you have any idea that it was going to evolve into all of this?
No, I think when we began to look at how to make the arts sustainable, it's more than just donors. You have to sell tickets, or you have to raise awareness. And about a decade ago, we were looking at how can we get into neighborhoods and where people are so they know who we are, and maybe we'll come and see a show.
Sure.
So we launched this idea of having a mobile unit, but it didn't take off until the pandemic, when the only safe way to get out there was to be mobile. And so that spurred us on. We put a huge investment in this, and we're changing lives every day, like this 4 times a week sometimes, which is a lot.
Yeah.
So but that is the entrepreneurial spirit at work here, where we really, as Natalie said, we're sort of marrying this idea. We're all gigging musicians. We know what that's like, but we have a little bit of safety around as a company to do it, where we can have a salary and we can try new ideas without taking great personal risk. But and plus we're all creatives, so we forge new ideas just by sitting around and talking about it. So it's a great place to kind of hang out. And I love it because this is what I wanted, but at the same time, I'm getting all sorts of fresh ideas from young artists.
Yes. Natalie, I think I'm especially interested to hear from you about, I know that you are getting more and more and more involved in the business aspect of it. I always wonder with artists, does getting involved in the business side take any of the joy of the artistry out of it for you?
Oh, that's a good question. For me, I don't think so, because that's my personality. I kind of like being involved in the business side, and I like knowing what's going on, besides just like getting a set list and having to learn the repertoire.
Sure.
Something that drew me to this job is that our full-time vocal artists are part of the artistic team. So we are involved in making artistic decisions in the company. So it's not just a higher up telling us what to do.
Sure.
So like when Bob was talking about designing these shows for the Art V, we really did that from the ground up. So we sat in brainstorming sessions thinking, what will our audiences enjoy? What genres do we really want to focus on in a certain year? And then we go from there, and we choose the repertoire. We bring in a stage manager or a staging director.
That's fantastic.
And we're more invested that way, I think, as well.
Sure.
So, yeah.
What is the biggest surprise that has come of Heartland Sings? I can only imagine that around every corner you're like, wow, I didn't see that, but here it is.
Well, every day we go to work, it seems to be a surprise.
It does.
Because, we're still here, and for me it's amazing because after 25 years, to see that we have our own building, that we have a mobile unit, that we're out in the community, and when people see our unit, they're like, oh my gosh, we know who you are. And then I'm like, wow, that is a big surprise because we've been here 25 years. So that anyone would not know we're here is probably the most surprising, and that still happens.
Yeah.
So we're forever trying to remind people that the arts are important and we're here. And
Fort Wayne is so lucky to have you two. I'm so glad that years ago you decided that it was worth it to create this beautiful company. I don't know that people even can fully understand how much richer the community is for Heartland Sings. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me, and best of luck in everything moving forward.
Thank you
so much, Emily.